I'm the chairman of our Chamber of Commerce Board of Governors. I'm the the lucky one that has been able to do this role 2 years in a row, thanks to the pandemic of 2020. That's right. That's what we're going to tell everybody in the history books. That good of a job. If you really want some fun laughs, go to the chamber office in our conference room. We have all of the past chairmen on the wall. There's one with me wearing a mask and now one with me not wearing a mask. So it's kind of fun. We're glad to have each and every one of you here today. I try not to get too specific as I always leave somebody out, but I know Cheryl and Fred are here on behalf of the chamber, but there are so many folks back at the chamber on staff, on the volunteer side that help with this We3 program that they don't need to go unrecognized. So I compliment them, I thank them. Please make sure you remember them and all of the fun work that you get to sit in front of and have all the pink in front of you that you do. There is not a men's conference, by the way, because I don't know that it would be attended, but there's a very well-attended women's conference.
It's
so.
called the golf tournament.
It is, it's called the golf tournament. I do attend that, I like those. This morning, I also get to introduce Miss Brenda Landers to come and bring our invocation. She works here with High Priority Plumbing. I don't see Brenda, she was just up here turning, there you are. But if some of you guys were not with us at our annual lunch just a few weeks ago for the chamber, I'd like to make sure you know that Miss Brenda was our Volunteer of the Year.
Yes, she was.
Very, very, very well deserved. Absolutely. So we'll let you welcome us to High Priority and have our invocation for us this morning. Thank you.
So when I was thinking about praying, this is where I get all like, Brenda Landers-y, so just deal with me. But when I was thinking about all these women I was going to be in front of praying for today, I was just in my heart, I was like, God, when we pray, I just ask that they would know the destiny and the calling that you have for them. So that's part of my prayer today, is that every morning when you wake up and you look in the mirror, hey, I've got a big purpose for my life and I can do it. So anyway, just had to share that. So let me pray. God, we love you so much. Jesus, you are so sweet.
Yes.
God, thank you for these awesome women. Lord, I thank you that they know who they are in you, that they're called, and that they're beautiful in your eyes. Lord, I pray over the food. I pray over as Dee brings this inspirational word, that we would leave here inspired and just ready to go change our community and change our business. Lord, I pray for strategic partnerships to form, friendships to form, and that above all else we would give you glory in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Well, that was a bit of a blessing in its own, huh? So I realized that last conference, I forgot to introduce myself. So that's a talent, to forget what you're doing while you're doing it. But anyhow, I am Jana Heiss. I'm with Evans Tool and Die, and I am the We3 chair. So at this point, I would like to ask our sponsors to step forward and introduce themselves. We have High Priority Plumbing. Come on back, Ms. Brenda. Qualified Staffing. And we have United Community Bank as one of our sponsors, Miss Tasha Cox, but she was unable to attend today. And we have Conyers Best Laundry and Dee with Evans Tool and Die. Introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello, I'm Stephanie with Qualified Staffing. I'm the branch manager here. We actually are located across from Piedmont Rockdale Hospital. And I partner with companies to help fill open job orders. By working with us, we help lower your liability, lower your overhead, and ultimately save you time, because we post the job, source for the job, and propose the best candidate for you. And on the other side of that, of course, the job market is on everybody's mind lately. So I have put flyers in my card out as well. If y'all know anybody looking for a job, I would greatly appreciate it if you would send them our way. I have all shifts, all skill levels, competitive pay, incentive programs. Right now our company is actually offering a referral program that if you refer someone to us and we put them to work for 60 days with no unexcused absences, you get $250 per person. doing that, and at the same time, with school being out, if somebody's looking for a summer job, whether it's for 3 months or they're wanting a second shift while they go to school during the day, I have entry-level jobs, skilled jobs, we have jobs. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Yvette Morton-Williams. I am the President and Chief Inspiration Officer of Conyers Best Laundry and a small chain of upscale laundromats in the Metro Atlanta area. Conyers Best Laundry is celebrating our 2nd year. I can't believe how quickly it's gone, but it'll be 2 years this month. This has been just such a blessing to be part of this chamber and have an opportunity to meet people like yourself. So it's just really been awesome. Raise your hand here if you have a washer and dryer at home. Okay, well that's awesome. Give yourself a round of applause. But don't think that that in any way means that you cannot come and visit us. We will welcome you in. Come and bring your patio furniture, bring your dog beds, let your laundry pile up and don't want to spend all day at home doing it. Come to us and bring it, and you can get it done in an hour and a half. You'll be in and out. You can pay different ways. Don't bring your quarters. If you haven't been to a laundromat in a little while, we don't accept them. So you can bring bills, or you can use our ATM and get bills and exchange them for the gold dollar coins or the Susan B. Anthony dollar coins that our washer and dryers accept. Or you can download our app. It's the Dexter Pay app, and that way you can connect your credit card, your debit card, your Apple Pay, or Google Pay. And we'd like to make paying us as easy as possible. So come to Conyers Best Laundry. It's a place where your socks come to mate. And we hope to see you soon. Again, I'm Yvette Morton-Williams. Thank you.
Hey, I prayed, but now I get to talk about the best plumbing company in the whole world. Oh my God. Anyway, so High Priority Plumbing, we've been in business over 20 years. We do residential, commercial, and we just added septic, which, come on, how exciting is that? It's septic, come on. Woo-hoo. So anyway, so we offer that as well, and it is an honor to host you guys here today.
And also we have our exhibitors this week, and this luncheon, we were so lucky to have 3 this time. We have Empower Atlanta Magazine, Miss Tawana Ho, going to stand, and there she is in the back. We have Be Beautiful Mama, Color Street Nails, Miss Katie Butler. And we have Southern Girls with Sass, Miss Cheryl Young. So now it is time to introduce our speaker. I actually think she's pretty special. Ms. Deanne Barnes is CEO of Evans Tool and Die and Evans Metal Stamping. She is the granddaughter of the company founder, Mr. Leonard Evans Jr., and she represents the company's 3rd generation of family leadership. She also has her boys in the shop, so we actually have 4 generations of Evans family in our tool and die shop. It's pretty special. She's a seasoned industry leader. She is the driving force behind Evans' ongoing commitment to Made in the USA. After attending Georgia College and State University, she has worked literally in every aspect of our company. Now as CEO, she continues the family legacy as an example of prosperous domestic manufacturing since 1948. Evans companies exist not only to make a profit for its stakeholders, but to make a positive impact that supports and encourages its customers, employees, our families, and our community. Evans celebrates 73 years this year and celebrates 43 years in the Conyers Rockdale community. Dee sits on multiple boards. She was the 2013 recipient of the Small Business Person of the Year. She graduated Leadership Rockdale in 2014. She is chairman of the board for She was chairman of the board for the Conyers Rockdale Chamber in 2017. She has been on the board of directors for the chamber since 2013. She's the board chair of the Restored Hope Network in years 2018 and 19. She currently sits on the board of directors for the Georgia Association of Manufacturers. And she's on the board of directors for Atlanta Redemption, Inc. And she is also the founder of His Wonderful Works since 2009. So, fun facts about Dee. I'll leave a few out. She currently lives in Covington with her husband of 26 years, who also works at Evans. And she has 3 wonderful adult children, Ian, Joel, and Olivia. We can't quite get Olivia to come join us. We're trying. She actually loves 20-mile endurance mountain bike races.
Wow.
Good for you. And she is pretty handy with a shotgun. Miss Dee?
Thank you to Miss Jenna. Miss Jenna is my assistant. Best assistant ever. It's so great to be here. Happy rainy day today, but bringing a little sunshine to today. So our message today, they gave me the title, Here's to Strong Women. And I'm like, oh, do I know what that means? When you start to think about that, you're out of like, okay, is that bodybuilder strong? Is that triathlon winner strong? Is that rock climbing Mount Everest strong? You know, you just start thinking about what is strong, and then you really realize, I'm not sure if I know how to define that. And so as I started thinking about it, and I thought, is it you need to put on deodorant because you're smelling a little strong? There's all kinds of thoughts. And so I thought, well, let's see what Webster says about strong. So not thinking strong women, but just strong itself. What are some words that come to your mind when you think about strong? Somebody just shout it out.
Leadership.
Good one. Anybody else?
Strength, physical strength.
Yeah, physical strength, muscles. Anybody else?
I've got one, able to make it through hard times.
Yeah.
You hear, oh, she's strong.
Yeah.
Stable.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, you think about strong buildings, strong trees, making it through storms. I mean, you think about a lot of other strong things when we talk about if something is sturdy or strong. And some of the things in, here's Webster's. Effective and efficient, having power to move heavy weights, physical weights, but you know what? I think you can have power to move psychological weights and emotional weights as well. Heavy weights, whatever they are, heavy. Dependable, resilient, persistent, healthy and active. I thought about that. I don't readily think strong is healthy, but if you're not healthy, I guess you don't last very long in the strength world. I was thinking about trees, just anything not healthy. It's not very strong really if it's unhealthy. So staying active and healthy, ability to endure stress, able to withstand great pressure, tough and tenacious. And I think there were even more words about strong. So when you take that and apply it, how does it apply to strong women? And I think we can become strong through things that we endure, right? Just life itself helps us to be strong, but it's a training ground for us. But we don't want to be just strong, right? I don't think I do. I want to be healthy strong. So then that begs another question. What is healthy strong? Because I can be super strong because I've had to endure a lot of life. But you might not last too long if you keep carrying too much weight. Physically, if you're a weightlifter or whatever, if I ride my mountain bike and I'm training, but if I train every single day, I won't last very long. I might be strong for a short time, but I'm going to burn out eventually. And I think if we carry too much weight, so then you think, how do you learn to be healthy strong? Not having to be strong, like I've got to be strong to make it through life. And sometimes you have to for a season, just be strong to make it. But then at some point, you got to figure out where boundaries are.
Right.
You know, what does it mean to be healthy, and how do I have boundaries? And quite frankly, if we've never known what boundaries are, then how do you know how to have them? So that's going to be one of the points later. But taking on too much is not healthy. Lifting too much weight is not healthy. So then you're just thinking, all right, what is strong women? So if I have a physical injury, I thought about if you have a physical injury and you get hurt, and when it heals, you're often stronger than it was, right? If you break your arm, that arms are actually stronger. So if you get hurt emotionally, physically, you become stronger, a stronger woman because you've been through hardship or you've been through life, and which is a great thing. But if you break your arm and you don't treat the broken arm or leg, it just heals wrong, and then you might be crippled for the rest of your life. I mean, you can go on to, if you don't treat the emotional hurts to be strong, you'll go on emotionally crippled. But if you get it treated, the physical thing, and then you go through physical therapy, then you're just stronger. And you're able to go. So you got to overcome those things. So I was just thinking about all the things that keep us not healthy strong would be injuries and things that could happen. But the good news is, you can come over that to be stronger. So if we don't treat our emotional hurts and things, which is really kind of, I think, where I go with strong women, how do you live in a healthy way? You can
not be so healthy strong. So I changed the title to what is healthy strong? And I got about 8 or so points, and I think each one you could do a whole message on everything, so I'm just gonna hit a few of them. So I thought, the number one thing for healthy strong is just being authentic,
Yes.
being genuine. And how do you get to be authentic? I think it's figuring out what you're passionate about, who you really are. Not trying to be somebody else, but figuring out what your passion is, what your value is, what are you good at? What are the things that you're good at, and what do you care deeply about? Then you can kind of be that, because everyone's created with their unique strengths. I think somebody that's authentic boldly shares their ideas and what they think. And if you can't share your ideas or thoughts, why not? Usually it's because of fear, right? We're afraid what somebody might say. We're afraid that our thoughts aren't valuable, or maybe we felt like they weren't. So you got to figure out why you're not able to do that. And I think when those healing things come, you're able to share your thoughts, because now you don't feel as much rejection, so to speak. I think an authentic person respects and values the contributions of other people in a workplace or anywhere else. I think it's important to let others know that you value them. That's a strong, healthy person to me. And an authentic person works to improve themselves to be the best they can be at whatever their strengths are. Know your strengths. All that authenticity, I feel like, is just knowing who you are. And that takes a little bit of work to figure out who you really are. It takes more work, though, to be something that you're not.
Yes.
It's a lot more work to try to hold up a false self or a perfectionist self, or working through these things. So authenticity. The next thing is honesty. I think a healthy strong woman is honest about what she thinks. And if you can't be honest, then I think you should ask the question of why can't you be? And usually, again, it's out of fear that if I'm honest, this will happen. But once we're solid in who we are, it's easy to be able to say with tact and kindness, what you really think. Say what you mean, especially if somebody asks your opinion. Don't tell me what you think I want to know. Tell me what you really think. Even if it's not what I agree with, it really makes you feel better and strong inside, because you're not having to hold back what you really think. Number 3 is being courageous. I think healthy, strong women are courageous. And when I thought about how do you get courageous, it's stepping out of your comfort zone. It takes courage to step out of it. And some of us are never able to step out of our current comfort zone because of fear and because of what might happen. So being able to step out just a little bit. We were talking about not speaking, and Brenda, we were talking about a situation where, just do the first little thing. It might be a small thing, but you realize, I can actually do that. But the more confident you become, the more you can do something. And I don't think it has to do with, speaking. It could be anything. Your fear of, one of my fears was the acrophobia at Six Flags. Anybody ever ridden that thing? I don't like heights, so I got myself on it because I was bound and determined I was going to overcome my fear. And I rode it, and I was still scared to death. And I was like, I still don't like this thing. So I made myself get on it again, because I was like, I'm going to do this. After the 3rd time, I'm like, forget it. I don't have anything to prove. I'll never get back on that thing. Some fears you just have to keep. I was like, but I tried it. Sometimes it's wisdom. That thing still scares me to death. And I'm pretty competitive. So if you challenge me, I might do it. But even that, I'm like, nope. I've already done it 3 times. I don't have anything to prove, and it is not fun. So sometimes, just having courage is a little different. But know where your heart is and what you believe, and then you can have courage. When you have something passionate that you believe in, it's easier to step out and say something about it or do something. Have the courage to do something, because that's what you believe is in you. It's easier to step out and do something when you're just so passionate. If it's the health of stray animals, I don't know. You go out and do something, you have so passionate about that you're not afraid to step out. So it still goes back to finding out what you're really passionate about on those things. Then you begin to build courage, and it's not so hard the next time. Number 4 is, I think strong, healthy women are humble. And I got some couple of quotes that I thought were pretty good. So this C.S. Lewis quote says, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less." That's pretty cool, huh? All right, and then another quote, "Truly humble leaders don't try to impress others with titles, credentials, or accomplishments. They pull out the best in others. Humility isn't timidity or weakness, it's confidence, wisdom, and grace combined with an acknowledgement that we are all imperfect." Those are great definitions. So I think a healthy, strong woman admits that she doesn't have all the answers. And A way to be humbled real quick is to get in an arena that you're not good at. Do something that you're not the best at, and it'll humble you real quick. Or it could just be regular things like, I don't know, going out and playing a sport that you're not good at. There's always somebody better than you at something, and it's really humbling. But I think practicing being a servant leader, admitting when you're wrong, and celebrating when others win is really humility. And you know what's cool about all these things? Every single one can be learned. Every single one of these. So if you go, well, I'm not a strong woman, so some people are just born strong. I don't think that's true. And I think you can learn to be healthy strong. And it just depends on what that is. I don't particularly want to learn to climb Mount Everest. That's not what I want to do. But do I want to be healthy, strong? And I think I do. You know, I want to learn those things. One of the things about humility, a statement I saw was, minimize the desire for folks to toot their own horn by tooting it for them. Oh, it's kind of cool. So think about people that you're around and, you know, acknowledging them and lifting them up and above yourself. Live by the same rules and standards that you ask everybody else to live by. That's humility. Take responsibility for your own mistakes. No blaming. You don't get to blame other people. That's a humble place. Pray for them if they can't get it right, but just admit your mistakes. So that's humility. Number 5 is, I think healthy, strong women are positive. And the positivity can be worked on, right? She brings life and fun to her life. If you don't have fun, find something fun to do. I'm way too serious. I've always been way too serious, but I've learned to be kind of fun. I've learned to be funny. My sister is super funny, and I was super serious. It was like I had to get everything done right, do everything right. I spent all this time never laughing, and somehow I've learned to cultivate some laughter and fun. It's so important to have fun.
Right.
You can't be too serious. Under positivity, she counts her blessings. Every day, count your blessings, make it a habit. If you do that every day, you'll be amazed at how much positive you are when negative things are there. Just make it a habit every day.
That's good.
And this statement, she lives fully, works hard, loves hard, has fun, and has a sense of humor. Did you know sense of humor can be learned? Look it up. I thought that was pretty cool too, because you go, I don't have a sense of humor, or she doesn't have one. You can learn to have one.
That's good.
And it's a whole lot more fun when you learn to do that. All right, number 6. Healthy boundaries. This might be the most important one of all of them, because if you can have healthy boundaries, then everything else kind of falls in place. Like I said earlier, I think if you've not ever had healthy boundaries, you don't even know what they are. I never knew what healthy boundaries were. And unless somebody tells you that that's not an appropriate boundary, you kind of don't know what they are. You don't even know that you don't have them. There's a book called Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend. It's an old book. Everybody should read that. It helps you understand what boundaries really are, and you know, because if you've grown up in places where you've always been overtaken with things and always had to do things, or guilt and shame and things you've had to do, you'll do that at work too. You'll take on everything because you'll never say no because you think you have to. So learning to set boundaries and communicate those things. And I think part of that is paying attention to your feelings. You know, what are you really feeling? And being honest about that. And setting the boundaries of certain things. One of the examples was, it's just an easy, simple boundary is telling your workplace people, I don't answer emails after 7. It's a boundary. That's like an easy one. But if you think you just have to do it, or you start doing it and you wonder why people are still doing it, you're letting those boundaries. So you have to communicate to set them. If someone's always crossing boundaries with you, it's probably because they don't know. So how are they going to know if you don't tell them? If you don't communicate and be honest? And sometimes out of fear, we won't be honest. So I think under healthy boundaries, know your priorities and values and communicate them. So we have an example of one of our work employees, used to be a work employee. He would open a closed door in every meeting. Didn't matter what meeting it was, he just walked right in to say what he needed to say. I'm like, what is this guy doing? I mean, he's crossing a boundary, right?
Wow.
Well, after about the 10th time, you figure, I don't think he understands that that's not appropriate, right? So what we do is get mad at whoever it is and never communicate why they should be.
Right.
So this poor guy, I guess nobody ever told him he couldn't walk right into a room. You'd think that somebody should know that, right? He would just walk right in, and you would think it was the most important thing, right? And it might be something super small. Isn't that right, Jenna? Jenna, where are we? Super small, you think, okay, he's interrupting this meeting because it's big, and it's like something like nothing. To him, to him it was important that day. So we had to go back and talk to him and go, look, you can't just open the door and walk right in. I'd be on the phone with somebody, and the guy would open my office door and walk right in.
Oh my.
But I can sit and complain about that, or I can tell him where the boundary is in a nice way. Set boundaries. Sometimes we set boundaries too far because we don't want anybody in our space. So I'll set boundaries, and that's not healthy either, right? Setting everybody way away and not having relationship is not a good thing either. So there's this whole thing about boundaries, but one of the things I thought about in boundaries is don't be the martyr. Taking on everything, right? Actually take time off. You're not the only one that can do the job. You should be able to take time off. That's a healthy boundary. That I'm not going to be there every day for you to call me 24 hours a day or answer all my emails. What? Okay, check. Those are my employees over there. And last thing about boundaries is keeping your work relationships professional. Where are those boundaries, right? Personal relationships at work and boundaries and how to have right relationship, all that can be learned, but it takes some really investigating about how you feel. You know, why are you frustrated about this or that, or the person not, keeping their boundaries. It's really, sometimes a lot of work to help people keep their boundaries when they don't know them. So anyway, that's a big thing. I figure if we can figure out how to have healthy boundaries, we're actually, all the other stuff kind of comes into play there. Number 7, cultivate spiritual strength. I think a healthy, strong woman cultivates spiritual strength. The strongest women I know, make time for spiritual growth, because that's where their strength comes from. And there's a verse in Ephesians 6:10 that says, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might." Our strength comes from that spiritual connection. I think it's super important. Last point: a strong woman, healthy strong woman, does not compete with men.
That's a good point.
Amen.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Doesn't have to.
you know why? Because she recognizes the goodness within herself and the value that she brings to the table
That's right.
or the event or where she's complements the strengths around her, right? So if you're constantly competing with men or thinking you have to, it's so much freeing to go, wow, if I realize what I bring to the table, they may or may not recognize it. But that's not their thing. That's not your problem. They don't recognize it. If they don't, after a long time, or it's abusive, mate, you might need to go somewhere else. But be confident in who you are. See the good thing that you bring to the table.
That's right.
And there is a report out recently, I think I sent it to the girls at my work, that it was a study on C-level, women in C-level positions, and how the companies that had those were stronger because of what the gift a woman brings to business. And I think that's true. There's a lot of different things that you bring that I think it's a much more relational and sensitive area when you have women there. Also can be more crying and emotions and all that. I've been known to cry in my office plenty of times. But you know what? It's healthy. I used to hate crying. And now, like every week I probably cry about something and somebody's sitting there and I'm like, oh well. It's part of it. And it can be humbling experience for your emotions to come out. But then it's like, well, that's just part of life and part of who I am. And I used to not be that way. I used to despise crying, and so you fight not to cry in a relationship or something, and when I'm talking about that, I don't know. But it's just part of being healthy. It's okay to do that. It's a God-given emotion. So anyway, that's the 8 points. Do you feel like you're healthy, strong, would be my question. And if you don't, then you can learn all of those things. If you do, you can just get better at them. You can practice all the points that we made. And so I'll go back and review them. Authentic, honest, courageous, humble, positive, healthy boundaries, cultivating spiritual strength, and not competing with men.
It's good, Dee.
So I have these fun little cards for you to keep with you. Jenny, you want to take them out? So it's a little card for you to put on your desk or somewhere that says, healthy, strong, see the good you bring. And it has the little topics that we talked about on there.
Excellent.
I love that.
Here's this. And, wow, so I guess that's my talk. Hope it was encouraging and you go away with something you can take away that helps you.
Good job.
Taking questions?
Sure.
I don't know, just thought somebody might have questions, and I thought you did a great job. It's very good. I didn't expect you to leave so fast, that's all.
Oh, well, do you have a question? Did we do questions? I don't know. I've not been to one of these before. Do we? Okay.
No, well, I'm curious. Can you talk a little bit about how you've been able to set boundaries at work? Because I imagine it's probably a lot of men that work there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she asked how to set boundaries at work? Yeah, I don't know. I think I learned them from mistakes that I made. But, there's obviously different boundaries for men that you work with, right? That's boundaries as far as relational boundaries, right? And that's just a whole nother thing apart from just regular, I don't know how I learned it. I
You had a
think,
great example.
ma'am,
I think you had a great example.
yeah, I guess I've always, I work in a whole entire industry of men. I'm usually the only woman at the table.
I can see that.
And I think just becoming healthier myself helps me value what I bring. So then, and I just learned what boundaries are. And from a lot of healing, actually, maybe it's because I went through a lot of emotional healing in ministry and dealing with my hurts, dealing with those things, helped me to know how to set boundaries. So then when I'm in the real world, those same boundaries apply. And I work in a ministry that deals with relationships, family, and sexuality. So when you're talking about men and boundaries, if they're, sexual boundaries or whatever you've got, your relational boundaries you got to take, I learned a lot about that just in ministry. So a lot to be learned out there for a lot of us.
Right.
I don't know if I answered that very well, but yeah,
I have one point that helps me with boundaries.
yeah,
Once I set a boundary, I stick to it. Because, it's one thing to say, don't do that, or
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take calls after this,
yeah.
but then you do,
Uh-huh.
and then so it doesn't matter.
That's right, yeah.
That's not a real.
You didn't really mean what you said then, right?
Yeah, yeah, so
Yeah.
the ones that are important to me, I try to really stick with them.
And it's communicating. It takes a lot of effort to keep communicating that. And just say it's kind of like any kind of discipline. I think it's really, you have to keep doing it. And if you say that and you don't do it, then yeah, people learn real quick that that wasn't a real boundary. Good point.
Awesome.
Any other questions?